Dit programma wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door het International Film Festival Rotterdam. Welkom bij de 42e editie van het International Film Festival Rotterdam. Op dit wereldberoemde festival worden honderden films uit alle windstreken vertoond. En iedere avond in het oude Luxor spreekt Hans Maarten van der Brink een belangrijke gast van het festival. Vanavond is dat de Britse regisseur Ben Wheatley van de zwarte komedie Sightseers.
Show me your world, Chris. Good girl.
You are going to pick that up.
I didn't do that.
If you don't pick up this excrement immediately, then I'm going to inform the National Trust.
Report that to the National Trust, mate.
Never thought about murdering innocent people before.
He's not a person, Tina, he's a Daily Mail reader.
I don't want this to ruin a holiday.
The police are pursuing a ginger-faced man and an angry woman.
Sit!
You're a liability. You're just like your mother.
Has it gone wrong?
Say one word and it's...
I can fly!
So have you had a nice holiday?
Yeah, I've had a brilliant holiday.
Hello. Welcome, Mr. Wheatley. To Rotterdam for the third time.
Yeah.
We have water, a picnic table. Did anybody bring any sandwiches? No.
No.
But I do have some questions for you.
Okay.
I suggest, if that's all right, with you in the next 20 minutes or so, we will tell something about the film without giving away too much of the story. I mean, that's
I'm not supposed to mention.
No.
When the
please don't mention that.
And then the other thing that happens.
Right. Yeah. Because we don't want to answer the questions that people haven't posed themselves.
A Q&A before the film is
it's difficult.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'd like to start. And try to shed some light on.
It's better when you have the happy
work.
faces at the beginning rather than the angry ones at the end. You know, which is.
Are you afraid of confronting the audience after the film? Is that it?
No, I've never been chased from a cinema.
Okay. It's your third time in Rotterdam.
Yeah. 3
feature films you've made. All of three of them were shown here, and in a very rapid succession. 2009, I think, Dawn Terrace was made. Kill List is premiered in 2010, and in November 2012. This film premiered in the UK.
Yeah.
And I hear you've already finished shooting and almost editing your 4th feature film.
Yeah.
So we'll see you again here next year.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And before that, you worked in television, made a television series. You worked with computer graphics, in advertising. And still you're only in your early 40s.
Yeah.
Yes? What explains the pace?
Early still 40s, only in your early 40s. It's good.
Yeah. This coming from me, of course. Yeah. What explains the pace? I mean, you hear so much about struggling directors waiting for years for their financing, and
I think it's basically that I make films that are quite reasonable budget. And they're not really expensive, so it's easier to get the money. That's the dirty secret of it. You know, it's not. You know, I think if you try and get bigger budget movies together, it's like buying a really massive, complicated house. Mm-hmm. And there's loads of paperwork and nightmares to get done, and you know, to get that, you know, if you're looking at $20 or $30 million, it's a big chunk of change. So, quite rightly, people are a little bit more.
You're gradually building it up.
Well, I mean, it's not the plan. It's not like you know, I don't look at it as success is predicated on how big your budget is. I think it's. I think that
But success helps getting a bigger budget.
For sure,
yeah.
But lower budget stuff, in a way, you've got to kind of decide where you want to be as a filmmaker, and like low budget stuff is enjoyable to make, you know. And it's almost possibly the purest kind of film experience, maybe. Not that I know, because I haven't, you know, done bigger stuff.
You started very small, or small in money-wise, on the internet.
Yeah.
With very small things on. It was even before YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the basis of, or was it a plan? I'll start there and then
No,
build it
I mean,
up.
I'd love to say it was a plan,
Yeah.
but it wasn't.
It was a plan in retrospect.
In retrospect, it was a very clever, cunning plan that brought me to this very yellow table. Thank God it's all come together so neatly, you know. But no, sadly not. No, I just bumbled around, and I was lucky. I was lucky that technology caught up. You know, before I'd kind of given up.
And that you were interested in technology.
Yeah, I mean, I'd been making short films, and I'd been showing them in pubs and stuff in the UK, and like, you know, to 40 people, and thinking, God, that's amazing. 40 people have turned up. But then, you know,
dreaming of Cannes and Hollywood, and then
yeah,
ultimately Rotterdam.
but at that point in the 90s, it seemed so impossible to make a film because it was so expensive. Because, you know, even just to get processed 16mm or shoot on film was just beyond the realms of the reach of anybody who wasn't like, you know, a lord or something.
You went to film school?
No.
No?
They wouldn't let me
So what's
in.
your background?
I did fine art sculpture, as you can
Sculpture.
see from my films, heavily sculpture influenced.
Yeah.
But yeah, but
Sculptured in time, as Tarkovsky
yeah, I mean,
used to say,
I was rubbish at sculpture, to be honest. But I did do a lot of video installation stuff. So for my degree piece, I was beaten senseless by the kickboxing champion of Great Britain. But they didn't even give. I got a very low mark.
I
for
think
it.
we should dedicate a special evening with a screening to that.
Yeah, well, I'd had this thing where I thought, you know, you see violence in films a lot, and I was a big fan of that of kind of action movies,
Yeah.
and I thought I haven't had a fight since I was a child. Maybe there's something in it. What's it really like?
There?
Well, I found out I was really weak, and I thought I was really strong, but I wasn't. And it's a weird thing with fighting is like, you know, you think that. I always used to watch boxing and think, why don't they just run away from each other? But it turns out there's a good reason. Because the other bloke's really fast at punching, you know. And,
Right.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
No, I think actually this is right to the point.
Yeah.
We'll come to the violence later.
Yeah.
I noticed that all three, and also the fourth of your films, are genre films. The first one was a crime. The second one was a horror movie. The third one, which we're about to see, is a comedy, always with a twist. And now you've made a period piece, no?
Yeah.
What is this? Do you like genre films? Is it like I want a mold and able to break it, or?
No, I like cinema. You know, and
Sure.
I love all the different flavours of cinema. So I thought, you know, I wouldn't want to make the same film again and again and again. Though inevitably that does happen, but
in a different disguise.
In a different disguise, yeah. But you know, I think that is, you know, and that's kind of why we ended up doing a comedy. When I ended up doing a comedy after doing a horror film, is that if I'd have made another horror film, I would have just been the guy who made horror films. And as much as I love horror films, I couldn't see myself doing them forever.
This starts suspiciously looking like a plan.
Yeah, it does now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that might have been a little bit of a plan.
Yeah.
Bit, yeah.
So what will be next? Something in the future,
sci-fi,
maybe?
yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
Of course. And then animation, maybe. But I don't know after that. Maybe
Which
go
is
start
basically
again.
where you started in animation.
Yeah, but I was a very bad. To say I was an animator is an insult to animators everywhere because I was poor at it.
And it's a load of work already.
I know it's a hell of a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know. So that's why I stopped.
You know, talking about genre films, for us, looking from the continent, and I think also for people in the rest of the world, in the US, for instance, the whole thing of Englishness, Britishness, is almost like a genre in itself. You know, with the driving on the wrong side of the road, and the upstairs and downstairs, and
Crazy.
and your royal family, of course.
Yeah.
Do people in England or in Great Britain perceive it that way also?
Oh, yeah.
That there is genre in itself that you can...
Yeah, we always perceive our own culture from the outside looking in. No, we don't. We don't think. I don't think about it.
You recognise the concept. I mean, for us.
Well, yeah, but in a broad strokes kind of, you know, the Germans have no sense of humour. You've still got massive windmills all over the place. You know,
we don't show the windmills in the films.
But you know what I mean? It's like I think that there are general kind of European stereotypes if you want to go there. But I don't know if they reflect modern England like that. But But maybe after seeing this, you'll all think.
Yeah.
But
Do you reflect modern England?
Well, from my perspective, I can only make films from my own perspective. I don't see them as English in that respect. So, you tell me. I don't know.
Well, I get the impression you're playing with certain characteristics of very typical British society.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say they were British. I would say they were just society.
Universal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I understand it, I don't know. I can't
But
speak for anywhere
But then
else.
you're British.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all right.
So your point is right, but I wouldn't say that I would label it that way. I would just see it from where I sit.
In your film, Sightseers,
Yeah.
there are two strange characters. I'd say English lower middle class and the whole class system. There you go. Plays
You don't have
something
that
of a
shit
role
here?
in that.
No?
No, we have other problems.
Yeah.
In the film as well. They have some interesting, special traits, character traits. We will not
Talk
divulge.
about.
No,
Okay,
no,
excellent.
no.
Right.
But they're not particularly lovely.
Oh,
No.
can't say that. I think they are. I love them.
Well, then please stay for after the film. We'll consult the audience. My question would be, do you love them as an author?
Yeah, I
The
mean,
characters in your film.
I think you have to. I think if you're going to make a film, it's a dangerous game to mock the main characters or to feel that you're above them. When I read the script, I felt that
You related to them.
yeah, I thought there was things that they were saying that were right, but also things that they were doing that I could see in myself. That were wrong and needed to be kind of looked at. So yeah, I would say that I think there's a version of Sightseers which is a kind of London-centric, kind of look at these people and look at the places they go to.
This is how it plays in London?
No.
No?
But you could make that type of film out of the script if you were, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted it, I think that, it's important for characters, and the characters I've had in my movies have always been kind of balanced that way, that they've been horrible and good, and that they're selfish but then they help and they're loving and they're helpful. So, and I think these are the qualities that we kind of all have in us, and that's what makes trying to make the characters, they're genre characters, but they're more realistic characters.
So they have their own moral standards which they adhere to, and these are not necessarily the moral standards of the rest of society.
Sometimes, yeah, but I think they're also they're contradictory, like real people are.
And so that's true of all of your films.
Yeah.
Even when there's a lot of violence, killing,
Yeah.
the horror story and Kill List.
Yeah,
Yeah. You love the characters.
you got to.
Yeah. Okay.
Who here doesn't love the characters in Kill List? Look at all those hands in the darkness up.
There are one or two people who haven't seen the film. But is there anything, we're talking about killing and violence, is there anything particularly interesting about violence in films? Is that the dark side you refer to?
Yeah, I mean, I think that
what you relate to yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's violence everywhere, and you kind of, and that's part of the rounded. Someone's laughing about that.
And
someone's been punched. Just right
people
next
tend to laugh about violence in films.
Yeah. They do.
Thank you for that cue.
Yeah, I think it's everywhere, and it's kind of, and it's part again of that rounded character thing of like, there's the,
Why is it you tend to laugh about it in films, whereas?
Well, in this film, because it's a comedy, hopefully. But
in other films as well?
Kill List, not so much laughter.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember. Yeah.
Is there any morality apart from what you mentioned? That everybody has their own morals, or rather, I mentioned that, and you said yes, sure. That is behind you as a filmmaker?
That is, sorry, what?
That you think is important for you as a filmmaker?
Yeah, I mean, you go by your own, try to make it from your own standpoint, and try and be true to yourself without sounding like a cliche, you try, and I think, and then you as long as it feels right to the truth of the piece, then it's right. That's the only law that you kind of adhere to.
You say true to yourself. I think this goes as well for the two main characters. They developed the script themselves. I think they worked 10 years on the idea, or something like that.
I heard 40.
40. Yeah, they're not as fast as you. Let's say that. They wrote the original script, and even spending a week in a caravan together, which must have been
Interesting. Smelly.
Oh, hell, I was going to say.
Yeah.
So if it's not method acting, it's method writing. What were you able to add to what they gave to you?
Sure. I mean,
because they had a script.
Yeah.
Scenario.
There was a script, and then I'd kind of Amy Jump, who's my wife, and also co-wrote Kill List and edited Kill List and
Your
Sites.
company is called Mr. and Mrs. Wheatley.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a clue there. And
and you're only the front man. For
I'm just the monkey. The organ grinder is at home. Writing more scripts as fast as she can. So she did a pass on the script as well. So there was, when I saw their script, there was a lot of stuff in it that I really liked, but there needed to be another slight polish to bring it back, to make it fit with the other movies that I'd made. So
you call that a polish? And first you said being true to myself.
Yeah.
That would be more than a polish then.
Okay, a heavy polish.
Okay.
A strong polish.
That goes deep.
A polishing machine that kind of,
Does this mean that you do not like the traditional way of developing a film, where you sort of first have a scenario, then make sure everything fits, and then do the casting?
I think there's lots of different ways of making movies. There always has been, I mean, the first two movies I made were written specifically for the actors, so there was no casting in the traditional sense. And then we would improvise around those scripts. We'd shoot the script down, and then we'd do a paraphrase version, and then we'd do a full improvised version, and then out of that comes the movie. So,
but in this case, the scenario was written by the actors.
Yep, that's right. And then we improvised again on top of that, and then I'd write like lists of stuff I'd like to achieve that day on top of their script. So it would be little like notes, and then we'd go away and improvise those moments as well, and then that would all be poured into the film.
And then when the film is a road trip, so I guess shooting it was sort of a road trip as well.
Yeah.
You cannot program the weather and whatever happens.
No.
How much room was there for improvisation?
After loads, yeah. We improvised a lot. I think we shot as much as Apocalypse Now.
That would be how many hours? A couple of years.
200.
Yeah. But then probably Apocalypse Now was many takes of the same scene.
I think it's many takes of a helicopter, basically, from the making of I Saw.
And Wagner music. I don't think we have time to go into the music, but just want to know one or two things about the way it was filmed, the way you shot the film. I hear you did parallel takes for the same scene.
What, two cameras?
Yeah. But also one improvised, one.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, you shoot a version of the script, which is the script, and then you say paraphrase the script. So they don't totally make up a new version of the script, but they put it back. The actors will put it back into their own words. Then you go back to the script, and then you go back to paraphrasing, and then you'll do one that starts early, like 2 minutes before the scene, and let the scene run out, and then you don't say cut. And how that works, the paraphrase versions feed off, and the scripted versions feed off each other, so that the actors kind of find the sense and the memory of the scene from doing the paraphrase version. And then you get to choose in the cut. Obviously, you look at it and go, well, this line's delivered better here, because once they put it into their own way of speaking, then it rubs the edges off, trying to remember.
But the versions are really different. It's not like 20 takes of the same scene.
Some are different. Some are really different. Some aren't. I mean, and sometimes you go, oh, make it more different, or bring it back to the script. So between those positions, you kind of like. But basically, what it's for is to get that kind of look in people's eyes when they look at someone and they don't know what they're going to say next, which you don't now. You see,
right?
There is this sparkle in your eyes, and I could say anything.
I know what I'm going to say next.
No, but I know you don't know what I'm going to say next. But actors do, because they've read the script. Yeah. And sometimes they.
And you want to put them off balance.
And they're like waiting for the line.
Which is probably pretty hard with comedians.
Yeah.
Who are used to
so basically,
aiming for the laugh.
But that's the kernel of what reality. They're trying to find that moment of reality where they kind of go, shit, they could move in any way and do anything. And you don't get that if you're just hammering it again and again and again, and it's the same. And
then we have to wrap this up. Okay. In the final version, you go into editing, alone or with Mrs. Wheatley.
Yes.
How much of the material you use is the improvised, and how much is the original script? Percentage-wise.
I've never analysed it.
But what's your feeling?
My feeling is, oh my God, 70-30.
Of what?
of scripted to improvised, maybe, but I could be proven wrong. With that's what it feels like. But
we could do a quiz now and ask people to fill in some form and what was improvised and what. But we will not be doing that. Neither will we be looking for Poppy. You might have seen the advertisements on the street. A lost dog, but you will be hearing about him and seeing him in the film you're about to see.
That's when we sat down and we cynically thought how we could get people to go and see this film, and it was the artist had just come out, so we put a dog in it. Yeah. We bent the whole shape of the film to fit a small dog into it. I'm sorry, I can only apologise for that now.
So you'll be seeing two fabulous actors, British landscapes, and a dog called alternatively Poppy and Banjo.
Yes.
And it's all the work of Mr. and Mrs. Wheatley, and we were glad to have you here.
And Alice and Steve, who wrote it.
Who wrote it.
Yes.
But they're not here, so we can...
Okay, cool. Well, I'll take credit if they're not here, but they are filming it, so they will find out eventually that I took credit for everything.
The internet doesn't forget anything.
But thanks for coming,
Thank you very much for being here, and see you next year.
Thank you. Cheers, man. Thank you.
De nachtfilm is Til Varosh van de Servische regisseur Nicola Lezaïc uit 2010. Toda en Stefan brengen hun vakantie door met loltrappen, skaten, drinken en het opnemen van jackass-achtige video's rond een oude kopermijn. Totdat ze vallen voor hetzelfde meisje.
Dit programma werd mede mogelijk gemaakt door het International Film Festival Rotterdam.